Hello everyone, this is again Professor Dharmendra from Mechanical Engineering Department, ABS Engineering College. In this particular video, we are going to cover the stresses in the shaft due to the torsion, or you can say the torsion in the solid and the hollow shaft. So, due to the torque, due to the torsion, what is the value of the stresses produced in the shaft? That is our topic of today's concern. So, the torsion or deformation of a circular shaft. You can see here, this is the shaft which has the axis. It is the before deformation, or you can say before the torque applied. You can see this. If I apply a torque at this end, then you can see, let's say this is fixed at that one end, if it is there, or it is a difference of the torque is there, then this line will shift in the torque direction and this whole surface will twist in the torsion movement. So radial liner remains straight and circular remains circular, but longitudinal lines become twisted. So the lines which are there and the longitudinal direction, it twists in the direction of the torque. So that is why this deformation due to this torque, and what are the changes comes into the material in terms of the stresses, that is our topic of today's, the stresses due to torsional movement or twisting movement. These are the again assumptions. The plane section remains plane and perpendicular to in the torsion. Material of the shaft is homogeneous uniform. Twisting along the shaft is uniform. Axis remains straight and it is inextensible. No axis change is there. So you can see this is before torsion, this is after torsion. For square, this is before torsion, this is after torsion. You can see the shaft is twisting when we torque the applied. To establish the relation between the applied torque and the geometry of the shaft and the constants of the material, we should have the assumptions to find out the shear stress in a circular shaft subjected to torsion. The material of the shaft is uniform, as I said. The twisting along the shaft is uniform. Non-cross section of the shaft, which are plane and circular before the twist, remains plane and circular after the twist. So plane में कोई change नहीं है. All diameters of the normal cross section which were straight before the twist remain straight after the twist. Little condition will show that the above assumptions are justified if the torque applied is small and the angle of twist is small. So again, this relation which we are going to establish is for small torque and small twisting movement or twisting of the shaft or twisting angle of the shaft. If it is large, then one of the two assumptions may violate. Okay, to establish, let's again take a small shaft which has a length L, and it is fixed at the one end, let's say, and the torque is applied at the free end. So this end we have the twisting movement. So twisting movement is there at the free end. So what happens? This CA, which is a axial length of, which is obviously in this case would be L. So this CA, when we apply, this A moves to A dash and makes an angle theta at the center of the cross section of the shaft. and at the fixed end it makes an angle phi. So there are two angles. One is due to this movement of A at the A dash, so cross section center, which is O, makes an angle theta, and at the fixed, this A dash A with the AC makes an angle phi. So theta you can see here, A moves to A dash, so twisting is done, and the twisting is at the angle theta, but at the fixed end, this longitudinal CA length makes an angle phi with the fixed end. So let's move forward. This is the diameter of the shaft is, let's say, D, L is the length, so T is the torque applied, L is the length, and R is the radius of the circular shaft. So R is the radius of the circular shaft. As a result of this torque, a very cross section of the shaft will be subjected to shear stress. Let the line CA on the surface of the shaft be deformed to CA dash. As I said, CA becomes CA dash, and OA to OA dash, and OA to OA dash. So angle AC A dash is equal to phi, and angle AOA dash is equal to theta. So this angle is phi, this AC A dash, and this AOA dash is the phi and the theta. Let's assume that the shear stress tau is induced in the surface, and we have a C as a modulus of rigidity of the material. So rigidity of the material. So relation between all these, what is the relation between this T, L, R, shear stress, C, that we have to establish. Okay, we know that the shear strain is the deformation per unit length, it is AA dash by L. AA dash by L. So, as I said, it is AA dash by L. So, AA dash divided by L. It is basically from the shear strain fundamentals. The twisting is AA dash and L length. So, that is strain in AA dash by L. And it is again tan of theta, because theta is very small, or phi is very small and theta is also small. So you can say the tan theta AA dash is equal to L, which is theta, is also equal to phi. We know that R A dash is equal to R theta, so phi is equal to A dash by L, again A dash by L. So I can write it is R theta by L. R theta by L. Put the value of A dash as R theta, so it is R theta by L. So phi can be found as R theta by L. If tau is the intensity of the shear stress on the outcome layer, outside layer, and C is the modulus, and then you also know that the shear strain is equal to tau by C. Tau by C. Stress upon strain is equal to constant. So this phi is, shear strain is tau upon rigidity modulus, tau by C. But again the phi and phi from upper equation 1 and 2, if I compare, then I can write the tau by C is equal to R theta by L, or tau by R is equal to C theta by L. This is one relation, this is the first relation between the shear stress, dimension of the shaft, length of the shaft, angle of twist, and the modulus of rigidity. Sometimes some books this C is also termed as G. So tau by R is equal to G theta by L. Some books says it is G theta by L. If tau x be the intensity of shear stress on any layer at a distance x from the center of the shaft, then I can say tau x by x is equal to tau by R into C theta by L. Tau x means at a distance of x, you can see at a distance of x what is the shear intensity. So this is circular, but from 0 to x. So at this layer dx, what is the shear stress? So it is tau x by x is equal to d theta by L. And obviously at the end I can write tau by r is equal to d theta by L. The other, this is one relation which we established, that tau by r is equal to c theta by L is the one relation, and you can see tau is equal to r into c theta by L. So it depends upon r also. As the r increases, the tau increases. So at the center you can see the stress is 0, and at the top, at the last, at the center, since x is 0, so shear stress is 0, and at the end the r is the maximum, so shear stress is maximum at the top fiber. Now comes to the strength of the solid shaft. In terms of the strength, we have to find strength means, let's say r is the radius, tau is the shear stress in Newton per mm square. Take a small strip at a distance of x of dx, then area of this is 2 pi x into dx. This dA of this strip will be 2 pi x, so periphery into dx. So 2 pi x dx is the dA. I know from the shear stress at the x is equal to tau into x by r, because tau by x is equal to tau by r. As I said, maximum shear stress is at the final outer periphery. I know the turning force. Turning force is what? The shear stress into area, because force is equal to stress into area. The force is equal to stress into area. So this is the tau x, and it is the dx. So tau x is tau x by r, and area is dA. Area is dA. So tau x by r into 2 pi x, value of, put the value of this dA, that is 2 pi x dx. So this comes, the turning force F is equal to 2 pi x upon r x square dx. Or you can say the turning force, turning moment dt is equal to force into distance. So again 2 pi tau into r x square dx into the distance is again x. So 2 pi tau by r x cube dx. This is the equation for dt. It means small turning resistance movement, turning resistance movement for small strip. This strip, what is the turning moment? Turning moment is 2 pi tau by r x cube dx. Or you can say force is this and x is the distance. So 2 pi tau by r x square dx is the force, and x is again distance of that area. So moment is 2 pi tau r x cube dx. If I want to calculate the whole twisting, so integrate from 0 to r, the total torque resisted 0 to r. So 2 pi tau by r x cube dx. 2 pi tau in r is constant. You make it outside, 0 to r x square dx. So x square dx, when you make, it is x cube actually. It is x cube. So 2 pi r x cube dx. So 2 pi tau upon r x to the power 4 by 4, integration 0 to r. So it is pi by 2 tau r cube, or in terms of diameter, if I want to calculate, it is pi by 16 tau into d cube, because d is the distance of this. So t is equal to tau, if I say tau, pi d cube by 16. This pi d cube by 16 is also called the section modulus. I will come later into this, but you can see again, this is the length L which comes to F, so Ff is theta. So based on this, we prove the torsional equation. This is the resisting torque, so pi by 16 tau pi d cube, which we already derived. and from the transmission equation I can find the applied torque, that is also called the mean torque. So P is equal to 2 pi T by 60. From this I can find the T, or P is equal to T omega. So if I know the power of some specified motor and I know the omega of that particular motor, I can find the torque applied on the shaft. This is the complete relation in terms of the moment of inertia. T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to C theta by L. T by J is equal to tau by R is equal to C theta by L. C is modulus of rigidity, angle of twist, L length. So shear stress, radius, modulus of rigidity, theta, L. This is the first relation. The second relation is T by J is equal to tau by R. Or the tau T is equal to tau into J by R. Tau into J by R, which in the previous slide we have calculated as this, because if I say this T and this relation, I can say T is equal to pi by 16 into d cube into tau. So tau into pi d cube by 16. What was the relation? It was T by J is equal to tau by R. So from this relation I can move to this. So T is equal to tau into J by R. T is equal to tau into J by R. So this term should be J by R. This is basically J by R. And what is the value of J? J is the polar moment of inertia. So polar moment of inertia of circular section is pi d cube by 32. Pi d 4 by 32. J is pi d 4 by 32 and R is d by 2. So if I solve, this comes, this J by R comes pi d cube by C. So this T is equal to this into tau, and this J by R is called the section modulus. Since it is a polar moment of inertia, it is called polar section modulus. Polar section modulus. So that these relations are there. Okay. So we have already explained this. Pi d 4 by 32. So this final equation, this is the section modulus which we were talking about. This is the section modulus ZP, which I just explained. So this is the section modulus ZP, polar section modulus, or the polar modulus. So J by R, J is pi d 4 by 32 for a circular section. So pi d 4 by 32 d by 2, as I said, it is pi d cube by 16. So for hollow, it is pi J is pi by 32 d4 minus di4, and the section modulus is pi by 32 d4 minus upon do by 2. Outer periphery is to be taken. So this is very important to understand. Okay. So the final relation is this. I can write the final relation in terms of the equation as the torque, that is T by J is tau by R is C theta by L, where T is the applied or the resisted torque, J is the polar moment of inertia, tau is the shear stress produced, R is the radius at which we want to calculate the shear stress, C is the modulus of rigidity of the material, theta is the angle of twist, and L is the length of the shaft. So these are the two relations. One is this, and another is this. So if it depends whether I want to use this relation or I want to use this relation to find the stresses in the circular shaft. For hollow shaft, the only changes, this J will change, other parameters will remain same. So for hollow, you can see for hollow shaft, this pi by 16 tau dO4 minus di4 upon d0, this will change, that's all. Other parameter will remain same. So this polar moment of inertia of this section will change because this section is changing from solid to hollow. This J will change. The torque applied may be same. The shear stress depends upon all these parameters. So if J will change, the other parameter may change. So that's how we establish the relation for the torque, shear stresses, and the polar moment of inertia. And based on this equation, you can find the shear stresses induced in the hollow, either solid or the hollow circular shafts. Thank you.